completely. If that concept is finished, I will start one more concept called functions. So mostly I will start that concept in the next class. In this class, we will discuss briefly about this how to apply this comprehension on the set data structure as well as tuple data structures as well as dictionary. We will see in today's class. So before that thing, I will revise you the previous class once. So coming to the previous class, I told you how to iterate through the data structures. So it might be a list data structure, it might be a set data structure, or it might be a tuple data structure. How to iterate through those data structures, we will see by using basic for loop as well as basic while loop. So it is about previous class. See, after joining into the class, please please turn on your microphones in mute mode. So here, this is basic aliasing we saw in the previous class. After this thing, we saw how ternary operators will work in Python. After this thing, how to iterate through this data structure. So here it is called as Pythonic way. First one, this one is a Pythonic way. So here I created one list. After that, I iterated through the data structure. And for each and every attribute, I kept a tab distance. So for that purpose, I specified end attribute in this print function. Whenever you execute this portion, it will return this thing as an output. After this thing, if you want to iterate through this by using basic for loop syntax, so here it is the way. So here I'm saying for I in range of, I want to check till this end of the list. For that purpose, here I'm using length function. So in the range function, if you specify only one attribute, that will be considered as ending index. By default, it starts with 0 and it will check till end of the list. So here, if you print I here, it will print all the indexes corresponding to these things. So here in this list, if you observe, we have 4 values. So here indexes starts with 0, 0 to 3, which is nothing but we are getting all the indexes. To get the character or value which is presented those index, we need to perform basic slicing. So here we are accessing each and every character corresponding to this indexes. After this thing, we saw how to iterate through the data structure by using while loop. So basic while loop syntax is initially we need to initialize the value, that is we need to initialize the index with 0. After that thing, we need to iterate through the end of the list. That means we need to specify the end of the list index. After that, for each and every value, we need to print the value corresponding to that index. For that purpose, here I specified L of I. And after taking one value, we need to increment the index. For that purpose, I specified I plus equals to 1. That means after 0, we need to increment I value with 1. After that thing, 2. Next 3. Like that, we need to iterate through that entire data structure. For that purpose, I specified increment here. So here, to iterate through this data structure, if we want to access the index as well as value, we have enumerate function. For that enumerate function, it is a syntax. For index comma value in enumerate of inside this bracket, we need to specify the iterable object. So coming to our scenario, here iterable object is nothing but it is a data structure. It might be a list data structure or it might be a set data structure. So here in this thing, here I'm not specifying anything. Here I'm not specifying the starting value. After this thing, I am executing this portion. Whenever you execute this portion, so here I comma v, which is nothing but at the first location, whatever you are specifying, that will be considered as index value, and at the second location, whatever the variable you specify, that will be considered as the value. So here I'm printing the index as well as values. So here by default, indexes starts with 0. So by default, it is returning the index as well as value which is present in this index. Whereas if you want to keep the customized indexing, you can specify the customized index set by using start attribute in this enumerate function. Here I want to start indexes with 6. Whenever you specify 6, starting index becomes 6. And afterwards, it will iterate through this entire data structure. That is about evaluate function. After this thing, so how to create a data structure dynamically? Whatever the data type, if you want to create any data type, we need to use. So in the runtime, if you want to create any data type, we need to use function like that. After taking input, by default, it will give the output in the form of string. But we need a output in the form of integer or floating point value, or it might be a list data structure or tuple data structure. To get the data type, we need to apply typecasting to this input function. So here, if you want input in the form of integer, here we need to apply int type. Yes, sorry for the interruption. I got one call. So here I want to take an input in the form of integer. Here I'm entering 12 value. Here, whenever you enter 12, I am observing what is the value present in it, and I'm checking the type of this thing. So here it is giving output in the form of integer. So if you want to take the user defined value in the form of floating point, here we need to apply float data structure. Like that, whatever the data structure you need to apply the typecasting function to this input function. So whereas here evaluate is a function which is used to take any user defined data type in the runtime. So here I'm specifying some value in this square brackets. Here I'm specifying some values in the form of square bracket. After this thing, I am observing the content which is present in A, and I'm checking the type of A. So here type of A returns list. So here if you want to create a data structure dynamically, so here evaluate is a suggestible function. So by using evaluate function, whatever the data is specified in the runtime, that will be considered as a final data type. This is about how to create a data structure dynamically. So this is a one way. After this way, we have one more way, that is by using loops. By using loops also, we can create a data structure dynamically. So here I want to create a list data structure dynamically. For that purpose, initially I'm defining one empty list. After that thing, I want to create a list with first 10 natural numbers. I want to create a list with first 10 natural numbers. And after iterating to this all numbers, I want to append each and every attribute in this list. For that purpose, here I'm using append function. Whenever you perform this action, one list will be created with numbers in the range of 1 to 10. So after this thing, I want to create a list with squares of first 10 natural numbers. For that purpose, I am iterating through this thing and I'm executing this function. So here it is a list which is created with first 10 natural numbers squares. After this thing, I want to perform same action by using comprehension. So here we can create the list dynamically by using evaluate function or basic for loop, or we can create the any data structure dynamically by using this comprehension also. Whereas coming to this comprehension, it is the very easiest way to create any data structure dynamically. So here it is the syntax for comprehension. So whatever the data type you want to define, you need to specify that symbol. So here I want to create a list. For that purpose, I want to specify the list brackets. After this thing, whatever the expression, with which expression you want to create the list, you need to specify that expression at the starting of this list. After this thing, you need to specify the for loop. And if you have any conditions, you can specify that condition. So here, initially, I want to create a list with 10 natural numbers, first 10 natural numbers. For that purpose, if you observe this example, in this example, what I did, here I specified I, means with I, that means 1 to 10, I want to create this thing. So here I specified expression as an I. Then next, here I specified I want to iterate from this 1 to 11. Whereas this 11 is excluded, that means we created a list with 1 to 10 elements. So in this example, we did not use the condition. Whereas if you want to use any condition, you can specify that condition also. So here I want to create a list with all the even numbers present in the range of 1 to 10. So here for that purpose, I am specifying the even number condition. After specifying this condition, if you observe the output, so here it is output, which is created by all the even numbers in the range of 1 to 10. Whereas if you want to do same thing by using traditional programming, so here it is a way. So here, initially we need to create an empty list. After that, we need to iterate through the first 10 natural numbers. After that, we need to specify the condition. Whenever this condition is satisfied, then only we need to perform appending operation on this list. Whenever you observe this thing, here it is the list which is created by all the even numbers present in the range of 1 to 10. So please keep your microphones in mute mode so that I won't get any disturbance from you. So here it is a basic program. After discussing this program, so we will see few more programs corresponding to this comprehension. After finishing this comprehension, we will move to the new concept. So after this thing, I want to create a list Here I want to create a list with some celebrities names. So here I'm saying some Nag. After this I am saying Chiru. So after this thing I want to take one more so one more hero name, that is Venki. So I want to create a list by using comprehension with the first character present in each and every string. I want to create a list by using first character present in each and every list. So for that purpose, what we need to say, so here initially we need to iterate through this data structure. So here how to iterate through this data structure? For I in L. Whenever you say for I in L, we can iterate through this entire list. So after this thing, for I in L is nothing but, so here, yeah. So for each and every iteration, I want to access a character which is presented the zeroth index present in each and every string. For that purpose, I am taking I of 0. Here I am taking I of 0. After this, so here I want to print the S. So here it is a new list which is created by first characters present in each and every string. So here it is about basic comprehension. So after this thing, I want to create two more lists. So here I'm taking L1 equals to, here in this list I am taking the elements from 10, 20, 30 as well as 40. So with this four element I created one list. After this thing I am creating one more list with the different elements. So here in this list I'm taking elements as 30 comma 40 as well as 50 comma 60. Now I want to create a list by using unique elements present in this L1. So here I want to check this L1 as well as L2, and I want to create a list with the unique elements present in this list 1. So here we need to create a list with unique elements. So for that purpose I am defining variable as unique only. So initially I want to perform this thing by using comprehension. So here I want to perform this thing by using comprehension. After this thing, we need to iterate to this first loop. So here I'm saying for I in, oh sorry, here I'm taking for X in L1. So here initially I'm saying I want to iterate through this L list 1. After this thing, if X, if X not in L2. So whenever this condition is satisfied, then only we need to take this X. Whenever this condition is satisfied, then only we need to accept this X into this unique list. After this thing, I want to print all the elements present in this unique list. Whenever you observe this output, so here, if you observe this thing, in this thing, 30 and 40 are the common elements in between this list 1 as well as list 2. Whereas I want to print the unique elements which are present in the list 1. So if you observe this thing, in this thing, we have 10 comma 20 only unique elements. Whereas if you want to do same thing by using traditional programming, so initially for that purpose, what we need to do? So here initially we need to iterate through the list 1. So how to iterate through that thing for X in L1? So after iterating to this thing, here we use a condition, right? So if this condition is satisfied, if X, if X not in L2, whenever this condition met or whenever this condition is satisfied, then before this thing we need to take one more list. Here I'm taking list with the name U. So I'm defining that empty list. After that thing, whenever this condition met, we need to add that attribute into this unique list. So here I'm using append function. Whenever this condition met, we need to append X to this thing. So here it is a basic program. So if you don't use comprehension, it is the program. So if you observe this program, these two programs are same only. Whereas if you observe here, we did everything in single step. So here by using comprehension, we can reduce the code length very, so we can reduce the very much code length. So if you understand this comprehension concept, better to go with this comprehension for the large programs, so our huge programs. So here I want to create one more list with the common elements present between both the list. For the purpose, here I'm taking one more list with the common. So here I'm applying comprehension. So again I want to print the expression X value. So before this thing we need to iterate through this entire list. So for that purpose, here I'm saying for X in L1, initially we need to iterate through this L1 list. So here after this thing, if which condition is set, if which condition? Yeah, we need to check this condition. If x in L2, whenever x is present in L2, then only we need to print this x value. Whenever this condition is satisfied, then only we need to perform this thing. So here, if you execute this portion, if you want to print the common elements present between both the things, so here it is a program. So if you do by this thing by using basic traditional program, so I'm copy pasting same thing. Why? Because logic will be same for both the things. Whereas here not in place of not in, we need to replace this not in with the in operator. And here I'm modifying this list name. Here I'm keeping name as C. After this thing, here I'm keeping name as C dot append. And I want to observe the output which is present in C. Whenever you observe the output, so these are the common elements present between both the list. So these are the common elements present in the both the list. So here it is about the basic thing. So next I want to try this basic comprehension on the tuple data structure. What happens if you try to perform this comprehension on the tuple? It is a very important interview question. So here initially I want to create a tuple by using comprehension. So in this I want to take square of each and every element in the range of first and natural numbers. So for x in range of, here I'm applying range function. I want to create this thing in the range of 1 comma 11. And after this thing I want to print the tuple. So here, whenever you perform this thing, here it returns a generator object. Whenever if you apply comprehension on the tuple, it creates a generator. Remember this thing. Whenever you try to create a comprehension, whenever you want to create a list, tuple by using okay, sorry for the interruption. I got one call. Okay, done. So here, whenever you try to create a tuple dynamically by using comprehension, it creates a generator. Why? Because tuple is an immutable data type, so we can't create a tuple dynamically. That's why it creates a generator object. So whenever you try to observe the output of this tuple, it returns the reference address of this generator. So if you want to observe the data type of this thing, you will get to know which kind of data type is created. So here I'm applying type of T. Whenever you observe the type of T, it returns a generator. That means we created generator object. Whereas if you want to iterate through this created generator object, we can iterate by using basic looping syntax. So here I am iterating through this generator by using basic syntax. So here by using this generator object, here I'm printing the T. For each and every time I want to print I value. So whenever you observe this thing, so here, yeah, it needs to return output. So here it is a way to iterate through the generator object also. So while explaining the for loop syntax itself, I told you the syntax for loop is for value in iterable object. Generators also an iterable object. So by using this basic Pythonic way, we can iterate through the generators also. So it is the basic way. After this thing, if you want to accept a single element from this generator object, here if you want to access any element from this thing, we need to use next method. So here in this next method, whenever you specify this next method, it will create or it will return the value which is presented the index wise. So here again I'm saying next of T. So whenever you say next of T, it will return the value which is presented the next index. So again if you execute this thing, again if you want to perform this thing, it will return the one more number which is presented the next index. So whenever you want to access the attributes by using, so if whenever you want to access the values by using indexes step by step, you can use the next method, or else you can iterate by using this thing. So after this thing, if you iterate by using for loop syntax, it will return output after 9. That means it will return output from 16 onwards. So here it is about basic way to iterate through the tuple. So if you try to apply this comprehension on the tuple, it will create a generator object. So here we can apply this comprehension on the set also. So here I want to create a set by using comprehension. Set attributes are defined in this flower brackets, right? I am defining this thing in flower brackets. So in this thing, I want to create same set with the square elements in the range of 1 to 10. Sorry, yeah. And I want to observe the output which is present in this thing. So here it is the set which is created dynamically by using basic comprehension. After this thing, I want to create the dictionary by using this basic comprehension. How to create this dictionary? So here dictionary attributes also defined in this flower brackets only. After that, initially we need to specify the key. Here I am specifying key as an X. After this thing, after this thing we need to specify the expression. We need to square each and every element. After this thing, we need to accept the elements in the range of 1 to 10 only. For X in range of, we need to allow the numbers in the range of 1 comma 11. So after this thing, I want to observe the output. So here it is the dictionary which is created by the keys with all the numbers in the range of 1 to 10 and the values corresponding to square of each and every element. The values which are square of each and every element. This is about the way to create a dictionary by using basic comprehension. Whereas want to perform nested looping, or if you want to iterate through the multiple loops for that purpose, that means if you want to print the Cartesian product, we can print the Cartesian product also by using this basic looping statement. So here I want to create a Cartesian product. So for that purpose, I want to iterate through the different loops at a time. So here I want to accept x comma y values at a time. I want to print x comma y values at a time. After this thing, so here I'm saying for x in, here I want to iterate through the first list. In this first list, I am taking two attributes. Those are a comma b. So after this thing, I want to iterate through the one more list. That is, so here I'm saying for y in. So here in this thing, I am specifying p comma q. Here I am specifying p comma q, and I am printing the output. So here I want to print the output, that is Cartesian. So whenever you print this output, it will print the Cartesian. So don't be confused. So here it is a one list. Here I created nested list. So if you want to create the same program by using basic way or traditional approach, for that purpose, what we need to do? So here initially we need to do this thing. So first what we need to do? Here we need to say for x in. Here we need to iterate through this list. So here I'm printing this entire portion. Yeah, I'm copy pasting that thing. So first we need to iterate through this list. After this thing, we need to iterate through this list. After iterating through this list, we need to print x comma y values. So this thing only I did there. This thing only I did there. So here I want to print x comma y values. And I'm running this portion. Whenever you run this program, again we got same output. So here it is a way to iterate through the basic data structure. After see here we have only 1 minute of time. So in the next class we will discuss the functions concept. If you have any doubts, I will explain you this concept also. So after this thing we have zip function, which is used to pack different data structure, and if you want to iterate through more data structures parallelly. So if you want to print all the values corresponding